Card and call the number on your screen or send check or money order for the amount shown plus shipping and handling. Remember, this special collection is not sold in stores, so call now.
You want to be prepared? You watch the Weather Channel. When it comes to something as important as this, knowing what we know can make all the difference. It's all we do. Right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Scenes from St. Paul, Minnesota, where temperatures are in the single digits and snow is falling again today. Now, the system bringing the snow will merge with moisture coming up from the south, and that will set the stage for some very wintry precipitation across the Northeast for today. Now, conditions are going to be going downhill across many big cities for the Northeast as the day continues to unfold. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center, sponsored by Kix. I'm Cheryl Lemke.
And I'm Will Annan. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Wintry conditions are also taking a toll on the nation's midsection as the chance for severe weather begins to threaten areas of the south a little bit later on today. And in the west, fog is the big problem again today in northern California and for many of the valley locations. And one of those spots is going to be San Francisco, which is experiencing pea soup fog right now across much of the Bay Area. Elsewhere, New Orleans is the target of more thunderstorms this afternoon as freezing rain continues in Louisville. Meanwhile, snow is moving back across Pittsburgh and into other areas of the Northeast. With more on that situation there and also across the Midwest, we go to Cheryl.
Well, snow is definitely spreading across the Northeast, and the snow has really picked up in intensity over the past hour. Right now, some moderate snow to report from Middletown, Pennsylvania, back towards Millville, New Jersey. And the snow is also coming down at a fairly good clip, too, for Baltimore, Washington, D.C., on into Hagerstown, and then some very heavy snow to report for Wilmington, Delaware. Speaking of snow, we've had the snow, too, expanding its way across Ohio. And right now, some more snowy conditions, too, for Cleveland. And joining me at this time, we have our very own Jim Cantore, who's been reporting live from the Cleveland area. Jim, what's the latest from Cleveland?
Well, Cheryl, we did have a burst of some moderate snow that worked in here just a little while ago, but it's kind of interesting. As that burst moved on through, we've kind of left with fog and more of a lighter variety of grains. The snowflakes were sticking together, so they were kind of big and fat, and now we're getting more of a steady light snow, which is accumulating on the ground. I want to check this out here as we look behind me on some of the sidewalks. You can see them already out here salting here at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as they prepare tonight for the big Elvis concert. Of course, Elvis won't be here, but he'll be here in memory, that's for sure. They're going to have a big concert in his memory. And the roads are getting a little slushy, especially these side roads where they don't salt and scrape as frequently, but where they are scraping on the main thoroughfares, Route 2, which is where we are here, they're doing just fine. Traffic's moving along very, very well right now, and that's kind of the way we saw it yesterday when we flew in here. We could see a lot of the main thoroughfares fine, a lot of the side streets having a little bit of an issue with snow left on over. But the big deal is, when will that snowfall increase? Will it be intense? Will it come down at a rate where they can't keep up with it on the roads? That may occur later on this afternoon and into tonight. We will keep you posted here from Cleveland, Ohio. Back to you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Jim. We appreciate the update. Again, that was Jim Cantore reporting live from Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland will just be one of many cities to pick up some very snowy, wintry conditions today. Why? Well, right now we're seeing a tremendous surge of moisture coming up from the south, while at the same time a very complex storm system moving in from the west and still some very cold air locked at the surface. So you combine those weather ingredients together and it sets the stage for a very wintry potpourri. Now, besides seeing the snow, we've also had some major concerns too this morning with some ice. Still lots of freezing rain coming down around Paducah, Kentucky, Lexington, and Louisville, and it continues to spread north and eastward up through the Ohio Valley. Even reports of some freezing rain too for Dayton, Ohio, and around the Muncie area. So again, if you don't have to do any traveling, probably the best bit of advice for you is just to stay inside today. Don't even think about traveling because those roadways are quite treacherous, especially across Kentucky. Now, for those of you in the Northeast, you'll be in for a variety of weather conditions. Now, as we were showing you, we already have some snow coming down for places like D.C. and Philadelphia. But throughout the course of the day, a very changeable weather pattern. Initially, you'll start off with some snow from D.C. up through New York City, Providence, and Boston. In time, though, that snow will turn over, at least for a brief time span, to some freezing rain and sleet, and then eventually turning over to pure rain. And the rain will really start to pick up, we think, come tomorrow, and we could even see some localized flooding problems for the Northeast on Saturday. In the meantime, though, lots of freezing rain continuing to surge up through the Ohio Valley. Heavy freezing rain right now for Paducah, Kentucky. Lots of problems, too, all across the state, really, and especially for the Bluegrass and the Pennyrile Parkway. We've had some serious concerns this morning with the freezing rain. To the north, though, it is snowing around Cleveland and Toledo. And that's because we're watching another system moving on in. It's spreading a shield of snow at this time. From Sioux Falls up through Minneapolis and St. Paul, you're seeing some wintry conditions. And more snowflakes are flying, too, from Madison and Milwaukee down through Chicago. How much snow can we expect? For the most part, generally 1 to 3 inches, but other locales could pick up more significant snows, like around Indianapolis, Cleveland, on into Pittsburgh, perhaps over towards Syracuse, maybe about 6 inches of snowfall before it finally tapers off. And temperatures chilly as well. Look at these temperatures. When you factor in the winds, still some dangerously cold wind chills to contend with for the upper plain states, but even around Chicago, no bed or roses. It feels like 2 below zero. In the Northeast, also bundle up. Again, when you factor in the winds, very nippy wind chills continuing throughout the northeastern corridor. And now let's check out the weather elsewhere. Here's Will.
Thanks a lot, Cheryl. Those Santa Ana winds are back in Southern California, where winds could be gusting up to 75 miles per hour this afternoon. More on that coming up in just a couple of more seconds. But first, more on the rain and freezing rain plaguing areas across the deep south this morning. And one of those spots where it's raining heavily again is over parts of Louisiana and also in the Mississippi. Much more of that to come during this afternoon. Some big-time rains during the last 24 hours in parts of Louisiana, up to 6 to 8 inches of rainfall there. All that moisture right now beginning to roll its way on towards the northeast. Not a major problem today.